with teleconferencing. The meeting is being recorded and all actions will be taken by a roll call vote. As noted on the agenda, anyone wishing to observe the meeting may do so via AVUHSD YouTube channel. As a reminder, during special board meetings, the public may submit comments only for items listed on the agenda. If you are participating remotely, you will be permitted to share your comments by phone. Speakers will be placed on hold until it is their turn to provide their comment to the board. Once the speaker is done or the 3-minute speaker and/or 20-minute agenda item time allotment is met, they will be disconnected from the call. Speakers may continue to observe the meeting on the YouTube channel. If you wish to make a comment in person, you will need to complete a speaker card and give it to staff or board secretary, wear a face covering, adhere to physical distancing protocol, and complete a brief COVID-19 screening, which includes having your temperature taken upon entering the room. We ask that you only stay at the meeting to provide your comment unless space is available. Space time will be limited due to physical distancing and on a first come, first served basis. In-person comments will go first. Submissions must comply with a 3-minute time limit. A total time for public input on each item shall be limited to 20 minutes. Speakers are cautioned that under California law, no person is immune from liability for making intentionally false or defamatory comments regarding any person simply because those comments are made at a public meeting. Comments received shall become part of the official record. I would like to ask the board members to respond to the following question as I call your name. Are you able to hear our proceedings on your end? Ms. Perrell?
Yes.
Yes, thank you. Dr. Ruffin? Okay, Dr. Ruffin is absent. Ms. Wynn?
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Rush?
Yes.
Yes, and Ms. McGrady, yes. Please stand and place your right hand over your heart for the flag salute. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance
To the flag, United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
Thank you. The public is invited to address the board on any agenda item. Individual speakers are limited to 3 minutes each, and the total time for public input on each item shall be limited to 20 minutes. During public comments, the board listens to concerns or issues. The board may ask questions for purposes of clarification. The law prohibits the board from entering into a dialogue with the public or taking action on items not on the agenda. In-person comments will go first. Are there comments from the public on agendized items?
There are no in-person comments, but we have 4 phone comments.
Okay, thank you.
The first comment is from Don Bethel. Mr. Bethel, are you there? Mr. Bethel? Move him to the waiting room. And the next comment will be from Ms. Hyatt. Ms. Hyatt, are you there? Ms. Hyatt? April Hyatt? Diane?
Okay, bear with us a moment. We're checking equipment.
Ms. Diane, can you hear us?
Yes, I'm here. Hello, good afternoon. And thank you for taking the time to hear a long-time Antelope Valley resident, but first-time speaker this afternoon. My health is not the best, so I appreciate the ability to call in. First and foremost, I want to thank Dr. Vieira for his service over these preceding years. I've had multiple children graduate from the district and will have grandchildren do the same. Our collective experiences have not been without their moments of turmoil, but overall, it's been a great experience for our family, and I believe that while the superintendent receives plenty of blame when things are not perfect, he likewise deserves kudos for the positive outcomes as well, and this valley has many, many wonderful outcomes that could be highlighted. As the time comes, though, to move on to a new superintendent, it's frankly a nerve-wracking thing for many in the community. This world in 2021 is full of so many things to navigate, and so many of them bleed into the schools. Political unrest, the role of race in learning, student rights and freedoms, funding, discipline, curricular decisions, the pandemic, immigration concerns, the balancing of sports and academics. All of these things and more mean so much to every family in this community, and almost no two families are going to weigh in exactly the same on every issue. It's such a huge thing for the superintendent to take on, balancing all these competing ideas and demands, and also such a large responsibility for the school board to pick the right person to do it. That's why I'm so pleased to see today's agenda item. The decision before you is huge, and spending the time and money necessary to be sure you get it right is so important to all of us. Thank you so much for bringing in for a vote a contract for a company that will help us to make sure every effort is made to find the person who's the absolute best fit for this district, this valley, for all our kids. I really hope this passes today, and we'll soon be one step closer to opening the next chapter for the district moving forward. Thank you so very much.
Thank you. So the next comment is from Brent Lister.
Mr. Lister, can you hear us?
Yes, thank you.
Mr. Lister? Mr. Lister, are you there?
Hello.
Hello, can you hear us?
Yes. Sorry, I didn't. Good afternoon. I'd appreciate the opportunity to talk for a minute here. I would like to share some thoughts on the appointment of a new superintendent. As a resident and parent, I've followed the happenings of the board for some time now, and some meetings I've watched in whole, others I've just read about in the paper or seen portions of online, but it seems to be a reoccurring theme that many of the board members don't care for each other. Some like the superintendent, others don't. All kinds of accusations going in all directions, and clearly a new superintendent will inherit all of this. And from an outsider looking in, I wonder how this will unfold. But hopefully, all members will be able to agree on what's in the best interest of the kids. And I think the idea of a third-party search firm to help seek out the best candidates as a significant olive branch being extended and offers an opportunity for all the potential candidates to make a case for why they'd be the best to move the district forward. With the times we've seen here of late, I certainly hope that this item passes and that we're able to thoughtfully consider and discuss all of the candidates and come together. And we can see, hopefully, we'll have a unanimous vote in support of their hiring. So I support the third-party search firm and appreciate the time to address you today.
Thank you. I'm going to go back to Dawn. Dawn Bethel, can you hear us? Let's try Avril.
Support the third-party search firm and appreciate the time to address you today.
Thank you. you hear us?
Yes.
Hi, Ms. Hyatt.
Hi, good afternoon. I called in today to speak on today's only agenda item, that of a superintendent search. I'm interested in the happenings of this district as I'm a graduate of it, alibi many years ago. Even though high school feels like a distant memory, Dr. Vieira was working in it even back then when I was a student. His many years of service are greatly appreciated, and I believe that the district has come a long way during that time. However, that is not to say that we don't still have much work to do. This district has been plagued with accusations and attacks for their hiring practices for years. Calls of nepotism and cronyism have rained down from too many places to be ignored. Sham interview sessions and recurring family lines have cast shadows of doubt on the practices of a district that I otherwise have a great deal of respect for. Today's agenda item, however, gives me hope. Hope that we are moving in the right direction. Hope that we will conduct a wide search that allows us to find the very best candidate, whether they be from the Antelope Valley or from another part of the state or country. It gives me hope that perhaps the decision for this next superintendent isn't a foregone conclusion and that only some already know about. Hope that perhaps community voices will be evaluated in the decision matrix. Hope that nepotism and cronyism are in the rearview mirror of this district. Thank you for your time today, and know that at least one community member is rooting for this agenda item and is proud of this district for having the courage to do the work to make sure we get this so very important position right. May the best candidate be identified and hired. Thank you.
Thank you. I think that concludes the public comments.
Thank you very much. We'd like to thank all of you who called in, took the time and effort to share your thoughts with us today. Moving forward, we will hear a presentation from the Leadership Associates.
You guys ready for us?
I think.
Yes.
I believe we are.
You are ready to go ahead and start your presentation.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm
Well,
sorry.
Welcome to our board meeting today. Thank you for being here.
Well, thank you. And we are both honored. I'm Fred Van Leuven, and Becky Banning is joining us. And when we get into the actual PowerPoint, you will see David Verdugo is not here today. It's probably best that he's not here because he's on a golf course in Ojai watching his granddaughter compete for a potential national slot in a competition. And all he'd be doing probably is bragging about it. So it's pretty cool. You know how grandparents are. Anyway, so Becky and I are going to be running the show. We have a PowerPoint. I know you've seen it already, and our intent is not to review the whole thing slide by slide, but we want to go over the gist of what we're talking about, and also give you an opportunity to ask questions at the end. So Becky, go ahead if you want to run it. So there I am, primarily a Southern California boy, but I was the president of WASC, which was up in Burlingame, and I was up there for 5 years. I actually live in Santa Barbara County. David Verdugo is actually in Orange County. He was a superintendent of Paramount. He was also the executive director for CALSA, which is the Latino California Latino Administrative Association. We've both been around a while, which I guess that is good. And we'll talk a little bit about our firm too. The next page is probably the most important one. And this is where we offer something that's very different about our organization is we have former superintendent executive assistants that actually work with whomever at the district to pull all this stuff together. I'm actually going to let Becky have a few comments at this moment since it's just the two of us. Becky, why don't you talk a little bit about what you do?
Hi, thank you first of all for having me. My name is Becky Banning, and it's an honor to be here. I've been with Leadership Associates for almost 5 years as the lead office administrator, and I have over 30 years of school district experience. I've served as an executive assistant to 4 different superintendents and have been through 3 superintendent searches during that time. I'm also a fluent Spanish speaker. If granted the search, the first thing I will do is reach out to Rachel to introduce myself and provide an overview of the entire process as it relates to her role and her support. I will also follow up by sending her some written guidelines with sample documents, checklists, board agenda, language recommendations, and most of all, will be there guiding her throughout the entire process. We definitely are aware of time. We're respectful of the fact that, you know, this will be something added to an already busy role he has to carry out. So we're sensitive to that, and we want to give you our word that, you know, we will be touching base with Rachel well in advance anytime we plan to ask for her support and assistance so that she has time to plan and nothing catches her off guard. But most of all, I've been in her shoes, so I understand what, you know, what her role is, and I come in with much respect and admiration, and also just camaraderie, and hopefully we're granted the search, and Rachel and I have the opportunity to collaborate and work with you and our consultants throughout the process. Thank you.
Thank you, Becky. Okay, we'll go to the next slide. So I think one of the people that called in was talking about the many accomplishments the district has had. On a personal level, I was engaged with actually starting, help talking with David about district accreditation with WASC, because again, I was the president of WASC. Your district was the only one in California to have done it. We had one in Hawaii, and WASC also deals with Hawaii and Guam, and also internationally with a number of schools. But we did that. We also got all of the your feeder elementary districts to become accredited. So that was in theory going to help you start working, pretending that you're unified through a different manner. So that started off. Obviously SOAR, you already know what these things are. You have MTSS, great CTE programs, national recognition for AVID. And then I thought, which was pretty interesting, the dependent charter. I know you just added 6th grade for night, got approval for that. So those are all really pretty phenomenal accomplishments. And we could go on with a lot more, but this is really to sort of cherry pick some of the ones that we wanted to acknowledge. Okay. It didn't move, Becky. There you go. So a little bit about us. We do the most searches of superintendents in California. We've been around since 1996. We just picked a couple districts so that you could see some of the ones we've done. David and I have done Santa Maria Joint Union High School District. We just got finished finding Larry King's replacement. David and I did, and I didn't do that one. David and I just finished Monrovia. David was on Sequoia and also Fullerton. So we've seen a number of high school districts. I'm also a former high school district superintendent. So just again, giving you a little bit of example about us. We do more searches than anybody, and we'll explain why in just a second. So this is us. This is a map of all the partners in of Leadership Associates. We're all former superintendents in another lifetime. We cover the state. We have every 2 weeks, we have a meeting to talk about searches. We talk about candidates. We're just connected to a lot of people, and you're going to see some other things that we're doing, but this is something that's different about our firm than anybody else's. We're not consultants that are hired by a firm in another part of the country or even in the state. We're all partners, and this is what we're all about. Okay. We have a lot of personal connections. We've had, obviously a former executive director for CALSA. We've had AXA presidents. We have people that have been on AASSA board. We've had somebody who was actually on the very first CCEE We're just engaged with a whole lot of things. I've been on the California School Board Association Superintendent Advisory Committee. Obviously, WASC is in there, which affects the whole state. So these are just, again, some bullet points to show that we're connected to a lot of folks and things. But throw it all up there, Becky, so we can get through this fairly quickly here. As it says, we're educational leaders, we're partners. We do believe that this whole process is accessible, and it's very important, from a democratic society as well. But we think it's really important that every school district and every community get somebody who's a qualified leader that's going to help children in their area and beyond that. Antelope Valley High School District has been a leader in that valley. A lot of things that come through it. We'll talk a little bit about the Superintendent Leadership Series that we've started, but it's important, and I know you realize that, or I think you realize that the importance you have in your valley, and you also are impacting Santa Clarita. Maybe not so much many years ago, but more recently because of the work that's been going on, we're seeing a lot of carryover for that. We value all of the things that are important to you: integrity, equity, excellence, diversity, inclusion, accountability, and transparency. All those things are very important to us, and it's good that you can flip it. And so when we do things, we want to make sure we keep that all in mind. We work, as it says, with both school boards and education leaders. We've done a number of searches that haven't been superintendent. We've done AXA, we've done CCEE, we've done some ROP, we've done SELPA directors, we've done a variety of things. But for the lion's share, we're really dealing with superintendents. And when we do these searches, it's built around your needs. So we have that standpoint, but we also are in the education business and providing growth for both boards and superintendents and other leaders as well. We'll talk about that in just a second. Why us? Because pull them up there if you can. We're all engaged superintendents. We've been successful in our life. We actually have one board member. One of our partners is actually a board member in Lake Tahoe, the county up there in that area, El Dorado County. We are partners. Again, as I said, we're not hired consultants, and we do care about what comes out of this, because that is our desire is to help school boards go through this very difficult time in figuring that out. We want to get better and get better at things, and we'll have a advance that we're going to be talking at the end of August about how we can get better and things that we can do. So COVID has been a good challenge for us. We've learned how to do searches exclusively through Zoom. It's only been in the last probably month and a half that I actually have sat in on interviews. We're in a room with people, but very similar to you with all of the protocol, and we gave people choices about participating or not participating, but it's loosened up a little. We'll see what Delta is going to do, or this other one from South America. So who knows? It's always changing, but we've learned how to conduct these searches through this medium. We have a diverse 50% of our partners are diverse, and 4 of them are bilingual. So we have a diverse partnership, and we are California. That's where our searches are. But because we're so large, we have just about everybody in the nation. When they want to come to California, they go to our website and they see all of the openings. And we have had a number of people out of state be hired that the boards thought that they were best. We have a lot of people from all over the U.S. who are interested in it. Sometimes boards would prefer to have somebody who has got a California background because we are fairly complex, but there's some that want to have more of an intergalactic search. They want anybody. And one of the advantage of us is that with all the WASC stuff that we've had people from other countries and other school systems that have applied for jobs because of those connections. So it's, again, there's just a lot of opportunity that we're going to see a little bit more in just a second here. Okay. So one of the things that we do, and your district participates this, is the Superintendent Leadership Series. It's been going, it'll start its 4th year. We have about 180 out of almost 1,000 superintendents that are participating in this in California. I'm responsible for the Antelope Valley, Santa Clarita Valley, or Northern Los Angeles County network. And so we've been having between 4 and 7, 8 meetings that we've done training with those 2 groups. We also have a network, which is different. We have 47 districts participating in that. We've also been doing assistant superintendent workshops. We've provided 105 professional development series, as it says, for California districts and county offices. We've done board things. The point of this thing is, out of 1,000 superintendents, we're probably touching maybe 250 to 300. When somebody comes through our search, we will not cherry pick them. They're yours. We will not go and re-recruit them or anything. So I think that's important to realize too. That does not preclude them when they see an opening to come to us, but we will not go out and call people and do recruiting or anything like that. Okay, next ones. Okay, put them all up there. It's Becky, and we'll just get through it here. So again, it all starts with you, and it will end with you. We will start with you in this process of getting what you think the characteristics of the next superintendent should be, what you think are the strengths of the district, and what are the challenges that are coming in the next 3-5 years besides next year, and trying to figure out what COVID's going to be. We heavily engage the community with in-person or virtual. In the last 18 months has all been virtual, where we've had probably more, well, not probably, we've had more participation than we normally have. In the old school, we'd go sit in a room and people would come to us, and we might get 20 people, and then we maybe have a community input session, and we might get 50 people come in. With this, with Zoom that we've had a lot of participation, and it's made it a lot more accessible. So that's been pretty good. We also have an online survey that we put out, comes through us. We will tabulate all of this between the community input, between what the board said, what the community input by the interviews are, and with the survey, and we'll create a profile. So really, that's the front part of the search. The second part is we're out. We've advertised it once we have an idea of what you're looking for, and you've approved what the profile is. We advertise it. We go through. We start our reference checks. We start just talking to people, and then the final phase is that you're going to. You will see all of the applications, and you'll just see every part, and you'll get to select who you want to interview. And then that's where it ends. You guys select who you want. Okay, next slide. So I put together, or actually David and I put together just a proposal. And there's different ways of doing it. And this, if in fact there's a contract that's agreed to, then we can work through this out. But we came up with the idea that potentially, well, let's back up. David's leaving at the end of August. There's absolutely no way that I could even make a recommendation, even if you wanted it. I don't think you should, to try to find somebody between now and then on a permanent basis. So the next opportunity that we sort of came up with was that you have to approve a contract of the superintendent at a regularly scheduled board meeting. So we went back and we backward mapped, and we chose December 10th was enough time for us to do that. So now that's how we got to that point. Now going up to the top, we're sitting here at July 7th discussing the possible contract. We would need a time. It could be at a regular scheduled board meeting. It's an open session where we gather your input. So I just put August 11th because I think that's your next board meeting. There we go. But it could be a board meeting that's a special board meeting that we would gather your input. And then we would spend some time with the community, and we think we could do it in 3 days, probably Zoom. But if we need to come there to talk to people, we can do that too. And we'd open the survey up on a really early, and we have it open earlier than normal because you do have such a wide geographical area that you serve. But we'd have a survey, online survey that would be open August 20th through September 8th. We have two advertising dates that we would have, the September 20th and October 4th that would hit EdCal. And then we put a deadline of October 25th for the applications. That gives us enough time to thoroughly vet them. And then again, this is a tentative calendar. We said December or November 8th, we would meet with you, figure out who you wanted to interview. You'd see everybody. We arbitrarily picked just 2 dates. Some boards have done it in one day, but you could do 2 days. You just pick symbolically 15th and 16th. If you want to do a validation process, which means you would actually either go to the district or you could do Zoom, depending on what's happening in the world then. You could go through that process. That gives you enough time to negotiate a contract and have it ready for the December 10th meeting. I will tell you that if you approve this today, Becky, you can tell me if I'm going to be wrong on this, that tomorrow we would have this on our website, which means we will already have a great deal of interest, people, actually requesting applications. Because that's one of the other things we did, we created a fairly aggressive calendar for you because there are going to be a lot more openings. People have not declared yet. We were very busy this past year, and we anticipate just from things that we've heard, that we're going to see that again. And if we're going to be engaged with this, we want to be on the front end of this for you. So that's why we're fairly aggressive in terms of getting this all taken care of. Okay. Next.
Fred, may I add something? Yes. I wanted to say that when we post our position on our website, we have a list of subscribed people that go and want to subscribe to get updates to anything that we might post that is new. So we get a response almost immediately. And so that's what Fred is referring to when he says we post it on our website, but a notice will go out to all of the subscribers that this is now an available search and open position, and we will almost immediately get responses. The only thing we would need is to confirm the closing deadline of October 25th, and that can be a soft agreement. This timeline will officially be approved the first time that you meet with the consultants, David Verdugo and Fred Van Leuven. And any of these dates are flexible based on the results of that next meeting. But we'll still go ahead and post it, and we can always update the closing deadline if for some reason that changes.
Yeah, this was just to give you what it would look like. It also tells you a little bit about the process, which is, I think, important for you too. Okay. And then finally, again, we talked about this. It's your search, all-inclusive fee. You're getting support of Becky. You're going to get stuff to you through a portal, which means it's electronic. And again, we're an experienced California firm with a national reach. Okay.
Thank you very much. We really appreciate you being here with us and presenting. Do we have any questions from the board? Anyone have a question? Ms. Wynn?
Yes, I have a question. So I've been told that hiring particularly a superintendent from out of the state of California is rather difficult, mainly for the person coming in because there's so many laws and rules and regulations that are unique to California. Is that true?
No, I think some of the states have reciprocal agreements with credentials, and so they slide over. There's been some, pretty close to you out in the desert. There's been some people that out of state that have just been recently hired. I think it's probably the issue is going to be is, do you think that somebody out of state is truly going to understand what LCAP, and we can go through our vegetable soup that we have for all of our things that we do, but I mean, that's there, if you have a strong staff, and that you can, that person can get their, I mean, they're going to be smart people that are coming into this thing, and they do bring something different, then that'd be one of the pluses to it. But those are the things that boards are having to weigh about bringing somebody in.
Well, sir, I believe that we have a very smart staff and very capable. It's just the new person coming in and having to learn all the nuances with the district as well as the state of California. And we make it as seamless as possible.
Yeah. Well, anybody who's going to come in is going to have to learn about the community. It doesn't make any difference where they're coming from. You guys are a unique district, just like all the other districts around you are unique. So that's part of the process of becoming a superintendent and figuring out not only a community, but a board and everything else.
Thank you. Anyone have any further questions?
Yeah, I do. So the search then begins tomorrow, is that right? Is that what I heard? I'm not quite certain, because I was under the impression we were approving this and the search was going to be starting maybe sometime in the future. That was what when I spoke to Fred. I'm sorry, I don't have your last name written down here, but yeah, I thought that we were going to start the search a little bit later down the line. Am I wrong on that?
Well, it depends how you guys want to handle that. I mean, what we provided was a timeline for you guys to look at. It certainly, as Becky said, isn't the one that's there. I think the first part of it is if we're going to be engaged with it, and if in fact, I mean, I guess what does starting the search mean? I mean, the part of the starting the search is if we're advertising that it's available and it's on our website, then yeah, that would be there. Have we started anything? No. We can't really do anything until we gather all the information to create a profile, because the part that's scary is that people will actually put their name in for this, but they don't know what you as a board are looking for. So they need to figure out, first of all, if they're going to be a match. And what's happening here is they're going to see a profile that you guys have created, and they're looking to see how they match with it. And the part, they have to understand if you want somebody in a X, Y, and Z, and they don't have X, Y, and Z, that may not be the good match. And they may decide that may not be the right place for them. So that's the part where that's important. Becky?
I just wanted to add to that the search actually can begin when the timeline been approved by the board. You meet with Fred. If you choose us, you will meet with the consultants to go over the actual search process and the timeline. Once that you will all establish the timeline. And once that is done, you will give us the green light, and then we will move with advertising. If to post the position on our website now, kind of overrides something that you might want to consider later in the timeline, we can certainly wait if you're not in a hurry to have that posted on the website. It can wait until after you've approved the timeline, but the timeline that you decide on is going to be what drives the pace of the rest of the search.
Okay, so
and that will happen at your initial meeting. We will schedule another meeting with you, and there will be an open and closed session, and that's when the timeline gets approved.
Okay, I thank you very much. That cleared it up.
Good.
Thank you. Any other questions? Let's move forward. It is recommended that the Board of Trustees approve the agreement for consultant services with Leadership Associates to conduct a superintendent search as presented. May I have a motion?
Motion.
It was Mr. Rush and Ms. Terrell, I believe. Thank you. Any discussion? Hearing none. Ms. Terrell, how do you vote?
Aye.
Aye. Dr. Ruffin is still absent. Okay. Ms. Wynn?
Aye.
Aye. Mr. Rush?
Aye.
Aye. Ms. McGrady? Aye. The item passes of 4-0 with one member absent.
That's great.
Yes.
That's
That's right.
fantastic. We look forward to working with you. And yes, that my backdrop is of your poppy preserve that I have all the time. Not just for you, but for everybody. So
It's beautiful. We like it a lot.
I hear you. Me too.
Thank you. Thank you for being here today. We'll look forward to meeting with you again. Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you again.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, everybody.
The Board of Trustees will go to closed
Excuse
session.
me, Ms. McGrady.
Yes.
The board caller that we had on the line is back. If the board would like to give them an opportunity to speak,
Thank you for coming. Absolutely. Board consensus? Yes, Ms. Rush?
For what?
I'm sorry, our fourth caller is now on, was able to get on. So. we made the
Sure.
correct- Yes, thank you, Ms. Burrell.
Yes.
Yes, okay, please, we'd like to hear.
Cindy, are you taking your laptop or your phone?
Mr. Bethel,
Yes, I'm here.
go ahead. We're sorry we missed you earlier, but you're welcome to make your comment now.
That's okay. I just wanted to share that hoping to make sure that that position is open to all, not necessarily against anybody specifically. I just want to make sure it's open to all qualified people to apply. That's my main concern, because I have two children in the district and one more that will be in a few years. And that's it.
Okay, thank you very much, and thanks for hanging in there. Sorry that there was an issue trying to get you on earlier. Thank you.
That's okay. Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. The Board of Trustees will go to closed session at 1:42 and will reconvene to report any action taken in closed session. Thank you, and we'll be back later. I'd like to reconvene our meeting of the Antelope Valley Union High School District Board. Let's see, I'd like to read out from closed session. During closed session, the board held a conference with labor negotiator, Mr. Brett Neal, regarding certificated bargaining unit, the classified bargaining unit, and unrepresented group, and the board gave direction. During closed session, the board considered employee appointment title interim superintendent. On a motion by Danita Wynn, seconded by John Rush, the board appointed Chandler Williams as the interim superintendent by the following vote. Ms. Perrell, a yes. Dr. Ruffin, absent. Ms. Wynn, yes. Mr. Rush, yes. Ms. McGrady, yes. The item passes by a vote of 4-0. Let's give her a hand.
Congratulations.
Thank you. During closed session, the board considered an employee appointment title interim deputy superintendent. On a motion by Danita Wynn, seconded by Amanda Perrell, the board appointed Mr. Greg Meehan as the interim deputy superintendent by the following vote. Mrs. Perrell, yes. Dr. Ruffin, absent. Ms. Wynn, yes. Mr. Rush, yes. Mrs. McGrady, yes. The item passes by a vote of 4-0. Let's give him a hand. So I'd like to think that we're going to be in good hands while we're doing this search. And in the meantime, I realize that I jumped right over our comments from the board and superintendent. So I'm going to give us an opportunity to speak if you'd like to. Ms. Perrell, do you have anything you'd like to share today?
I just want to congratulate both Chandelyn Williams and Greg Meehan for your positions, and thank you for all your support.
Thank you. Ms. Wynn?
I too would like to congratulate both Ms. Chandelyn Williams and Mr. Greg Meehan, and I know they're going to do a fantastic job, and I look forward to be able to work with them. And thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rush.
No, just congratulations to both of them, and keep up the good work. Chandler, maybe you can switch places with David pretty soon there on that chair.
Thank you. And I'm just making all kinds of mistakes today. I'll just freely admit it, but I forgot to read that starts on August 28th. In the meantime, we're happy to have you on board training, and it'll start then on August 28th. And I also skipped right over it. I have one more thing to read out. During closed session, the board considered case number 20 STCV 32678 of existing litigation, and the board took no action. All right, and Dr. Vieira, it's your turn if you'd like to speak.
Well, I'd start off by commending the board on the actions that you took today, starting with the search. I think that's a wise thing and appropriate thing to do, and I'm sure that you'll get the best candidate to fill the vacancy. And then I'd like to congratulate Shannon and Greg. It goes without saying, you have my full confidence and trust. The work that you've done over the years, I can't think of anybody better suited for continuing to work at this point in time. So congratulations, and I look forward to working with you during this transitional period. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I think I need a motion for us to adjourn.
I move that we adjourn.
That's Ms. Wynn. I need a second.
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Burrell. Do we have any discussion? Hearing none. Ms. Burrell, how do you vote?
Aye.
Aye. Dr. Ruffin is absent. Ms. Wynn, how do you vote?
Aye.
Aye. Mr. Rush? Mr. Rush?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. And Ms. McGrady is an aye. So the item passes by a vote of 4-0. We are adjourned. We'll see you next week for our regular